I am back with a hopefully relatively short video. I'm going to be just talking about this little top handle here from SmallRig. This is, I'm going to have to read this off the screen. SmallRig NATO top handle with record start stop remote trigger 3322. I have it on my A7 III currently because I tried filming this video on the A7 III and showing you my A7S III, which is why I bought this handle, but I just could not get the autofocus to work right on the A7 III. So I'm filming this video on the A7S III with the G Master 35mm f1.4, and you better believe we're at f1.4. YouTube. So a few things to note real quick off the top. There are a few versions of this handle that you might find either on SmallRig's webpage or Amazon or B&H. The 3322 that I mentioned earlier comes with 3 different cables and should be compatible with a variety of Fujifilm, Panasonic, Sony, and Zcam cameras. There also is a version that is Fujifilm only, and the one that I got, as far as I remember, only comes with a cable for Sony cameras. So I just say all that just so that you make sure, if you are interested in this handle, make sure that you get the one that is going to support the camera that you want it to work on. So I started looking for top handles. I hadn't really shot for a top handle in a while, and the first thing I kind of noticed or that stood out to me was how expensive they can be. I mean, you can buy relatively budget top handles, but you can also spend like $150, $200 on a top handle that really does nothing other than give you a handle and some mounting points. So when I came across this one from SmallRig that also has a record button on the top, I thought, oh, that looks pretty handy. It adds an additional bit of functionality, and it's not that expensive. It kind of sits in the middle of the pack in terms of cheap versus expensive top handles. If you shot with any bigger professional video cameras or cinema cameras, a lot of times they have record buttons kind of scattered across different parts of the body, and that just makes it super convenient that you don't have to, like, if you're in position to start shooting, you don't have to take your hand off like the comfortable shooting position that you're in order to hit the record button. So that's why I went for this one. I've had it for several months now, so I'm just going to give you a quick list of pros and cons for this top handle. It's an all metal build. You get lots of mounting points on it, so it has a lot of 3/8 inch that double as area locating mounts. There's one here on the top, and there's also one of those on the front, and there's a bunch of 1/4-20s as well. And then you also have some cold shoe accessory mounts. There is one here on the top back of the handle, and then there's one on the back of the handle, and then there's also one on the top of the handle. So lots of different ways to mount things if you need to mount a monitor, a bunch of different ways with this top handle. Another thing that I really like about it is that it's really long, and that just makes it easy to fit your entire hands, all your little fingies on here. So no dangling digits. You get a nice comfortable grip on the top handle. The last thing I'll mention is that the included cable is pretty much just the right length to reach the USB-C port on the top handle itself and the micro USB port on the Sony cameras, for instance. That way you don't have like any extra slack, or really the cable can tuck out of the way and won't get yanked or tugged on. And the other nice little addition here or feature is that there's a couple notches cut out in this part of the handle here where you can cinch in that cable, so that way, you know, it's not going to flop around on you. I did mention that the build quality is really nice, and I do think it is, but mine I think maybe has taken some abuse. I've rented this camera out a couple times, and so this thumb screw, when you loosen it up, it loosens to a certain point, but it doesn't actually, you can slide it, but I feel like it has to get kind of jogged or bumped in order to fully loosen. If you just keep turning it and loosening it, it'll eventually just kind of lock in place. I don't think it was doing that when I first got it, so again, I think mine might have gotten bumped. I'm just saying mine seems to have taken a little bit of abuse and maybe not stood up to the rigors of heavy-duty run and gun filmmaking, whatever. So I do like the length of this cable, but what I don't like about the cable is how much it sticks out from the side of the camera. Basically the housing of the connection sticks out more than an inch from the camera, and that just kind of worries me that this could get bumped, or you could bump this into something and then bend the USB cable, or maybe even damage the port on the camera. I wish they had kind of gone with a lower profile connection point here. This isn't a big deal probably for everybody, but since there's probably, like, I would imagine a circuit board or something right here in the front of the top handle, there are no mounting points on the sides of the handle until about halfway down. I have mounted an external monitor using a magic arm, and using this first 3/8 inch thread, it does kind of interfere with your ability to get a full grip on the top handle. So it would be nice if there was more 3/8 inch mounting points or 1/4 inch mounting points at the front, but I can understand why there's not. But it's just a consideration. I do like the length of it for the grip purposes, but as you can see, it overhangs the back of the camera quite a bit. So if you do like using EVF for shooting video, or you want to shoot photos with it, then you might bump your head with the top handle. I mean, it doesn't prevent you from pulling it up to your eye, but depending on the angle of the camera, you might actually, you know, it might interfere with your head. You don't want to interfere with your head. So that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions or any other comments, leave them in the comments. I appreciate you watching this video, and maybe I'll see you in another one.